Today's hashtag AskGojiMan is on the top foods to prevent and reverse cancer. So if you have cancer in your family or you're worried about developing cancer in your lifetime, you're not going to want to miss this. Roll the titles. Welcome back, it's good to see you all again. If this is our first time meeting, then hi, I'm Gojiman. I'm currently finishing a Masters in Nutrition and qualifying as a nutritionist, and next year I'll be studying for a PhD in nutritional science. I do daily vegan health and nutrition videos in which I answer your questions under the hashtag AskGojiman. So if you have a question for me, then hashtag AskGojiman in the comments below and I'll choose one of these to answer in tomorrow's video. And without further ado, to the question. Now, you will often hear through social media and through the news that if you want to avoid cancer and many other diseases, then you have to get the body more alkaline through nutrition. So I'm sure that most of you are aware that your blood needs to be in the range of 7.3 to 7.4 on the pH scale. So it's slightly more alkaline than acidic. And the body is very clever in this area. It has a number of buffering systems that help regulate and control the pH level of the blood. So if you consume a lot of very acidic foods, the body's buffering systems will kick in and the blood acidity will be neutralised and the pH will come back down. And this works the other way too. If you eat too many alkaline rich foods, the buffering systems will kick in and the acidity levels will be brought back up. So the first thing that I want to clear up surrounding this subject is that despite what you hear online and through the media, it is virtually impossible to make your blood too acidic. So where the problem actually resides is that you can cause severe stress on the buffering systems, which in turn can cause knock-on effects elsewhere in the body. Now, the buffering systems in the body operates in the main by using minerals, which helps bring down the acidity. So if you eat lots of acidic foods, the buffering systems are kick-started, minerals are dumped into the blood, and everything is tightly controlled. The problem for many today is that their diets are severely lacking in a lot of these essential minerals. So what do you think is going to happen? So the buffering systems still need to function, but as there is insufficient minerals from the diet, the body robs minerals from the bones to ensure that there is an equilibrium maintained in its pH levels. So generally speaking, for those who eat very acidic diets, they will more than likely experience high amounts of bone and joint problems and degradation as they go through their life, as their bodies counteract the onslaught of acidity. Now, one of the other big misconceptions surrounding alkalinity, etc., that you will often hear is that cancer can only grow in acidic environments. So how many times have you heard nutrition experts say that if you throw cancer cells in a petri dish and increase the acidity, the cancer will grow exponentially? Well, this is great, but remember, it's in a petri dish. But for me, cancer isn't the disease, it's the result of the disease that has been triggered downstream in the body that facilitated the growth of cancer. So putting it simply, cancer growth is simply a result of what happened elsewhere in the body. So the main question that we should be asking ourselves is, what are we doing fundamentally wrong through diet and lifestyle that enables the metastases and metabolism of cancer in the body? Now, only maybe 5 to 10% of all cancers are genetic, so what are we doing that's so fundamentally wrong that is causing a tidal wave of cancer diagnosis today? Now, for me personally, I think acidity in the body has little to do with cancer formation, simply because the body is never allowed to get in an acidic state because of its highly effective buffering systems. Now, before I get to the food list, which will help protect you from cancer and even potentially reverse your cancer, then I just want to quickly touch upon cancer genetics. So if you think about it logically, if true genetics govern cancer, there will be no cancer or less and less cancer, because the cancerous genes will be culled off in the evolution of the survival of the fittest, aka Charles Darwin. Now, obviously I am oversimplifying a very complex area, but you get my point. Now, genetics largely became redundant in the understanding of diseases after the discovery of epigenetics. So if you apply genetics and epigenetics to breast cancer, for example, women with the BRCA1 are told they are genetically susceptible to breast cancer because they have a faulty gene. But what these women are not told is that the BRCA1 gene is actually a mutated gene and not a hard-coded gene. And nobody within the medical professions, the pharmaceutical industries or the research industries seems to be interested in understanding what caused the mutation in the first place. It is simply that you have the BRCA1 gene and your risk for breast cancer is now dramatically increased, and then many women, fearing they have no alternatives, are resorting to breast removal surgeries. So I can't stress this enough, but you really need to understand that there is a massive difference between a gene that is hardly coded for cancer and a gene mutation that then causes cancer. There are very few diseases today that are just based on hard-coded faults in our DNA. Most are mutations in our DNA. Now, a really good analogy of understanding epigenetics is a printer. You usually have a black, yellow, pink and blue ink. Now, if one of these inks runs out, the printer will still print your picture, but the picture will be mutated and distorted. And this is ultimately what happens in the body when you don't give it all the vitamins and minerals that it needs. Your chromosomes and genes can't print properly, and then you get mutations. Now again, I'm obviously oversimplifying it because there are many things that can cause gene mutations, such as chemicals that get into your body, but again, you get my point. So in terms of food, let's first look at some of the worst culprits for putting pressure on the buffering systems, which then can have a knock-on effect for cancer formation in the body. Now, all processed and refined sugars are acid forming, funnily enough, so be mindful about the amount of refined sugars in your diet. I personally don't consume refined sugars, so you'll need to make a call based on your own set of circumstances. Next up, all nuts are acidic, so better choices on a regular basis will be chestnuts, almonds and coconuts. Now, I'm not for 1 minute saying that nuts are bad for you. I am simply saying that you need to be sensible about the amount of nuts you are consuming. So clearly, if you're eating a pot of nut butter a day, then that would be too much. Most grains are also acid forming in the body, with the exception of quinoa, millet and buckwheat. Again, just to reiterate, I'm not saying that grains are bad for you. You just need to balance the amount of acid alkaline foods in your body so you are not stressing those buffering systems. In terms of beverages, the worst culprits are alcohol, tea, coffee and refined processed fruit juices. And many fruits are highly acidic, such as oranges, plums, pineapples and cranberries. But again, just to reiterate what I've already said, many foods are extremely healthy but highly acid forming. It's about striking the right balance and ensuring that you are consuming more alkaline based foods than acidic foods. Now let's look at the foods that will support your buffering systems and help protect you from cancer. So obviously all vegetables are alkaline and great for neutralising acidity in the body. So some of the top vegetables for neutralising acid are kelp, celery, seaweed, broccoli, coriander, parsley, carrots, spinach, kale, asparagus and green beans. Some of the best fruits around for alkalinity are figs, limes, lemons, mangoes, papaya, blueberries and raspberries. And one thing to remember with fruits is that it's the mineral content of the fruit that determines how alkaline the fruit is and not the amount of sugar it contains. Apple cider vinegar also has a great alkalizing effect in the body, particularly good for those people who suffer with acid reflux. So if you have a particularly sweet tooth, and I know you do, then you'll be glad to hear that chocolate is particularly healthy and particularly alkaline forming. So anything over 85% cacao raw chocolate will be particularly good for alkalizing the body and also for preventing cancer. So essentially the best foods to help protect you against cancer are those foods that won't stress your buffering systems. They are the foods that will help boost your immune system, they are the foods that help clean your lymphatic system and remove those unwanted toxins from your body. They are the foods that will support stage 1 and stage 2 detoxification in the liver and around the body. It will be those foods that help balance your hormones so you are more androgenic and less estrogenic in nature. So just think eat the rainbow so that your diet contains lots of anti-cancer compounds such as sulforaphane from broccoli, anthocyanins from blueberries and resveratrol from grapes. And if you do this and crowd out all of those processed refined nasties, then you will significantly stack the cards in your favour. So I hope that video helped you. As always, for the rest of you, if you have a question for me, then hashtag AskOGman in the comments below and I'll choose one of these questions to answer in tomorrow's video. And as always, remember to look after your body because it's the only place you have to live. And I'll see you next time.